Hello, I'm Anastasia Lovrina. Today we have a very special guest. Joining me now is Zaur Sadigbayli, political scientist, lawyer from France. Warm welcome to our program.
Thank you, Anastasia. Thank you for our invitation. I'm very pleased to meet you again in Baku during framework of the conference concerning right to return of Western Azerbaijanis, which I'm representing in France, in Western Europe. So, and I know that you have many questions for me.
Of course I do, but today's topic, we will talk mostly about the political system in France and the troubles the country facing at the moment. As we all know, the French government has fallen after Parliament backed a motion of no confidence in Prime Minister Michel Barnier. Therefore, how big is political crisis in France now?
Well, you know what's happened. Remember, I did comment with you many times with our interviews, and we all know what's happening during the parliamentary elections in France. The main point is that what great General de Gaulle write and preview was never happened, because it never should happen, because, as I told many times, in France is a majority presidentialism system. It's half president or half parliamentary system, and it based on very simple reason and very simple rule, that the majority party presents its candidate, and his candidate became prime minister. That they, in order to perform this, they always need, it's only one number you have to recollect, it's 289 parliamentarians. It's a majority, absolute majority of National Assembly. So during Fifth Republic, always one of parties had this majority, not always presidential party, what we call cohabitation, sometimes opposition, but someone has this majority, and we have the periods of big cohabitation, little cohabitation. Last time, remember, it was during Jacques Chirac time, 2 years period, and he waited 5 years period, and he waited until 2002 to overturn and win the election, and also at the same time he win parliamentary election. In that time, the French make one significant reform of constitution, because the main point of this happening was that arrhythmia, as they call it, arrhythmia, because presidential mandate was 7 years and parliamentary 5. So the idea was the change the schedule of election and put presidential election before parliamentary. So saying people, you choose the color of parliament, which is equal to color of president you choose. So automatically, if we choose the right president, you voted for a right, and if you voted on left president, you voted to left. You have to understand one thing. It's also very simple. I know that our listeners not all have a degree in political science, but it's very simple to understand. The parliamentary elections in France happen in the same rules as the presidential. Let's imagine that every circumstance you have. It's every poll station, let's see, or in every deputy circonscription, as we call in French, you have the mini presidential election. Okay, so to win it, that's why we call majority system in 2 tours. For win it in first tour, you need 50% plus 1 voice. To win in second tour, you need simple majority. But what happened in parliamentary elections, that there is a rule, if you have a certain number of points, you can maintain your candidate for second turn, okay? And it's happened, what we call it, triangles or duels. So never happened again that one party, or none of party had majority. But this time, because of policy, because of unsuccessful policy of Emmanuel Macron, because of mistakes on foreign policy, this time it's happened. So we knew that will be happen, because in last election, remember, that was closely the same situation. They had a very little majority, so he could nominate his government, but some of laws couldn't pass, and it was very, very difficult situation.
I'm sorry, just to clarify one thing. What you are talking about the mistake of the president of France, but what we see today, the position of the parliament and the decision made towards the future position of the prime minister of this country, was it solely handling of the budget, as the budget became the main reason of all of those circumstances around, or there are other contributing factors?
You're absolutely right, Anastasia. It's the first time in a history of Fifth Republic that country living without budget. And you have to understand something very simple, that there is a special procedure when you nominate prime minister. The prime minister come to Parliament, National Assembly, and make a speech which called a declaration of general policy. Normally, we don't voting on it, but we can to have a confidence. But this time, for example, he even didn't vote. And afterwards, after this declaration, the opposition party can try an untrust votum to erase it. So what's happened this time? Again, I'm back in June. That we knew that France is separate in 3 blocks, some average of 30%, so no one will have that majority. Remember, it was the biggest mistake of Macron after the European election, which is lost, his party lost. He dissolved National Assembly, okay? And many people, even from his own party, was just shocked. Remember that picture you saw, that the prime minister, which was quite brilliant, and he was just shocked. The photographer of Elysee Palace just takes this picture, and in the very moment when Macron announced that, I have decided, like Jacques Chirac, but I have decided to dissolve National Assembly. But none of them was in a course. And that very moment they learned that he will stay without a job. So this decision had a very heavy consequences. Why? Because we knew that he will never win election. Another thing happened, what's also very tremendous thing and outstanding for French political history, is that the left party saved the Republic because he didn't want a far-right party, and Bardella came to power. So, and we have a paradox, because in a relative number of deputies, left forces, New Popular Front, won the election, but Macron did everything to not allow them to come to power, really. And it's just an amazing thing, because look, for example, National Assembly is directed by with so-called bureau, okay? And in bureau, it's 12 positions. The majority of these positions, 9, it's in left party's hand, okay? So in this position, but the president of National Assembly, it's the same like 5 years before, Jan Pivet, and nothing changed, we can say, but very many things changed. So the arrangement was to nominate right party Prime Minister Barnier, which is former diplomat, kind of compromise, and only thing, and everyone knows that Constitution forbids dissolve Assembly before 1 year. So the contract was for 1 year. We make a union government, and look at the government, they search the people from different parties, and majority of left parties, right parties inside, but for example, financial minister is a former socialist from Socialist Party. It's just kind of rule. So, Justice Minister. So they made, and President also of Committee of Finance of National Assembly, it's from left party. They always was this kind of arrangement. But arrangement was, a contract was, that lasted for 1 year, and after 1 year, eventually redissolved Assembly to give France new government with a majority in Assembly. Because what's happened now, France came back to Third Republic. Because in Third Republic, it was quite of this system. The country was governed by Assembly, and very often the majority was changing and government shut down.
So we can see that political system, there is a division inside the French political system at the moment, and the development, the future of this republic, the situation inside and the future possibilities and implications for the partnering countries. What's next?
But what's happened also, and I will coming why we have to situation of today, and it was very unpleasant, because Barnier, I have personally very respect for him. He is very careful. Remember his declaration of general policy. He gone till to recall back the reform that Macron wanted over New Caledonia, remember? The change electoral college was all mess, and even army get to pacificate the riots in New Caledonia. So Barnier closed every subject, was polemic subject, and New Caledonia either. So he was very prudent because he's diplomat, and he wanted. But what happened next? We can say just play of political game, and for me, as a jurist, it's very scary and unpleasant because we understand what's happened. The justice, which should be independent, receive, and it's my idea, some kind of political order to condemn Marine Le Pen to prevent her to represent for next election. And Marine Le Pen party say striked by this. That is consequence what we have today. Okay, because that should never happen. But that kind of play, of course, the decision will be held in next year. But that kind of play, saying, "Oh, look, we have a way to prevent you to continue in politics," and of course, the far right don't accept this. So what's happened immediately? That provoke political. I make one thing clear. Of course, you will ask me who this situation, who is a winner of the situation, who will have political dividends. For me, both the far left or Mélenchon front and far right, will get political benefit because both they want to push
Do you still
Macron
think
to
that they
dismiss,
should be
to
the
resign.
winner in this particular situation? This is political collapse.
Yeah, it's a crisis.
Inside crisis.
It's a crisis, and we have a great principle of General de Gaulle, which is the greatest figure of 20th century. De Gaulle has very simple principle when he created his constitution, and was many critics on de Gaulle saying that created constitution on him and he's elected monarch. That's what we study when we study political science, as I did for my master's degree. But de Gaulle has a very simple principle. If the people don't want for me, I resign.
President Macron will have a special statement to be made later today. What are your expectations? What are the right decisions should be done, you think?
Well, Macron already told, I think yesterday or day before, that he won't resign.
Yes.
Yeah, his position.
He will stay until the end of his term.
Yeah, so and that's true because nothing. We discovered something very interesting thing in Constitution and also about the role of Prime Minister because the Constitution written this way: President is the head of state, head of the armies, etc. But he is not leading the government. He giving the directions, and government.
And he makes an appointment.
Yeah, appointment if he can't do appointment because the prime minister. Before in Fourth Republic there was another procedure. We call it double investiture, and it was a very heavy procedure. First prime minister was approved by parliament, and when every member of government, like government in all, was approved, like in the United States, and it was unlikely that because of one minister's government could shut down again. So they corrected in Fifth Republic. We're doing that. Even we appointed is with deputies, we have majority, and for declaration of general policy, there's even, at least this time there's no even what, because as the last phrase the prime minister saying when he has his speech, saying, I engage my responsibility on my speech because it's kind of program. And that's why it's logic, if the opposition party not agree with it, the next day, the same day, they putting a special motion and trying to vote it to dismiss it.
So now what he can do to stabilize the situation, if he's not going to leave the office, he has to make a new appointment.
Yeah, but you have to find new compromise figure. And
will it help? Because there is a significant division inside the parliament.
Well, we will see what give political tractations. There's another solution. No one said about it. I was saying before that in Constitution, government is independent and can't give. For example, something we never knew: the president can't say to prime ministers to resign. So in history of Fifth Republic, all the time prime minister resigned. For example, Jacques Chirac, he resigned. He was prime minister of Giscard d'Estaing, and in time. Common people and me personally was thinking that president could give the order to prime minister to resign or dismiss him, but president in fact can't do this. So what's happened now in this situation they, of course, need to find a new, let's say, compromise figure, because otherwise we will have then no government. There's another solution, but that needs political conscience. National Assembly, I was thinking about this, I will come back to it. First, why the people saying, and Marine Le Pen saying, Mélenchon saying, why this force is saying that Macron should resign? Because they have an idea, and it's French constitutionalist, specialist on constitution, saying that if even 1 year didn't pass from last dissolution of National Assembly, the new president can say it's not applicable to me. I am new president, and I am not binded with this, so I dissolve National Assembly. But there is another solution, and I say for this we need a political conscience, having that nation's interest. The National Assembly actually can dissolve itself. Okay, make a plenary session, make one group deputy can propose it, saying we're in crisis, because that's a solution. Auto-dissolve National Assembly, provoke new election. What will be outcome, I can't say, because I remember again, in this system of majority system in 2 tours, you always have this problem. You can ask me one thing, why, for example, our neighbors, very beloved neighbors, British, have this problem? Because in British there's another kind of system. It's a proportional system of 1 tour in each circumstance. Okay, and Azerbaijan, for example, choose this kind of system. There's no second tour. In first is the first past the post rule. So who wins? Simple majority, he is elected. So until that, we will let's wait and see, as you say, what's happening next. But I don't want to make provisions, but for today, provisions are not good.
Well, Zaur, thank you. Thank you so much for joining our discussion today.
Thank you, Stasia.
Thank you. Thank you very much for staying with AnewZ. See you in the next edition.